Get away.
Hi,
Lara
everyone.
starts her sorry. I was just gonna say Lara starts her monologue right away. Like
Yeah.
recording starts. Hello, I have lots to say today.
Hi. Let's all get acquainted. And then I need to talk about my monologue. I'm Lara. Guys, motherfucker.
I literally always go last.
I know, but I was challenging you. Challenge by choice.
Okay, I'm McKenna.
And I'm Mallory.
I'm so glad we're all being challenged today. Welcome to Fuck Wellness. Today, the three of us are here, and Fitz and Ryan, obviously, the whole crew. But really, it's going to be mostly Lara talking.
Which we're thrilled about. And we had McKenna really be the star of the show last week.
Yeah, we did. And this week it's my turn. It's my freaking turn. And
I'm feeling like nervous. Like I don't know what's happening, but I'm like a little nervous about you right now.
why? I
don't
look
know.
like a sperm.
You do. Or like a cloud, like a dolphin cloud.
A dolphin sperm cloud.
Yeah.
I'm having one of those days, and we'll get into it, but where I literally feel like what's it called? A tadpole. Like a wet, gross little tadpole.
Nice.
McKenna, you look angelic. I just feel like I want to tell you that.
Just pivot to McKenna's beauty when I say that I look fucking wrecked.
I mean, to be fair, Lara, okay, for those who cannot see, Lara has a hood over her head and is tied the knot up at her chin. And Lara, you are always stunning. I just feel like you are on purpose trying to look like a sperm.
I mean, you can still say that I'm gorgeous, though.
You are gorgeous.
No, I
The
know.
eyebrows are just 10 out of 10.
I'm honestly doing this to magnify McKenna's beauty tonight because it is out of the park.
It is
Guys,
out of the park.
I can't tell you how much I hate this right now.
Words of
Thank you.
affirmation not doing it for you?
No, thank you, love you. But also like I'm kind of scared Lara's just gonna like just like bop me over over that.
You think I'm gonna punch
A
you?
little bit. I'm a little nervous.
One thing that I thought about a little bit is that you guys get on the pod knowing each other's moods, and I pop on the podcast not really knowing the dynamics of like how your days have been, or like how like your relationship to each other at the moment of the podcast starting. And so I do kind of feel like I walk into like a landmine sometimes. Where I'm like, I just don't know what triggers are heightened today, you know?
Yeah, you do have to tread lightly.
No, and I don't. I can't tread lightly. And so then I get in trouble. Like last week.
We're going to talk about last week.
Yeah.
But really quickly, like our relationship is solid.
No, and I don't mean like that you have a rocky relationship, but just like some days you guys are more bantery and some days you guys are like really cuddly, and I never really know what the vibe is.
You think some days we're cuddly?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, cuddly emotionally, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, today we're great, right?
I hope.
We're really good. I'm not gonna hit McKenna. I never have in my whole life. And I know way better than to do that.
Why? Because I'd win?
No, because that's
It'd be
horrible.
close, honestly.
It'd be close. Yeah, no, we would never get in a physical fight. The three of us would never.
The three of us. No, I was talking about you guys. I was like, it would not be close for me.
It should be in a physical fight.
Yeah. I think I'd just like hunker down like a bear. Like when the bear runs at you, you're supposed to get into a ball.
Yeah. I don't like talking about physical fighting.
Moving on.
Moving on. Today, there's a few things I want to cover. But again, as always, I want you two to interrupt me at any point about anything. Okay?
I'm ready.
Yeah, set the agenda.
So the agenda is I'm gonna talk about last week's pod a little bit. So if you haven't listened, maybe go listen to it before or after this one. But then I also want to talk about my last week or the last 5 days of my life because they've been rough. They've been not rough in some ways and really rough in other ways. And McKenna has seen me through this 5-day time period, so I want you to really step in with any observations that you maybe had. What should I hit first?
I have no idea what's on your list, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm gonna hit my week first. Yeah. So basically, on Friday, McKenna and I went to a dance class. And this dance class we went to about a week before this Friday for our first time. And it was so much fun. We danced to a song by Renee Rapp. And we were like, I was very impressed with us because it's rusty. Like our dance abilities are a little bit rusty. We used to do a dance class in Boulder that was many, many, many months ago. And so we were back into dancing. And
The fans want to know what Renee Rapp song is. I just got a earful from the fans.
Oh, you have them live.
Yeah, and they
Live
want to know
talking.
what song.
and we're like,
It's not my
it's
fault.
not my fault.
Okay. The
It's
fans
a
think
good
that's a
song.
good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do they think about Renee Rapp?
The fans love Renee Rapp. They're
Yeah.
actually thrilled that we're talking about her on the pod.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The only
If we could get her as a guest, I think that'd be pretty big.
I mean, we could shoot our shot.
it's not that far out of the realm of possibilities.
We're always
It wouldn't have been like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. When this podcast did exist. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have had Renee.
Let's get our priorities straight here.
Okay.
Back to
Dance.
your dance, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to dance on Friday. We're in the room, right? We're making the space ours. Key to having a good experience at dance. And we're taking some pics, we're being silly. Something really cool that likes to happen in many public spaces is that people are silent and then McKenna and I are just like gigging. Like having a giggle, enjoying life because that's what we're supposed to do. But everyone's just silent. So people start trickling into the dance class, silence. No one's talking to each other. No one's laughing.
This is 2 weeks ago dance class? Or
No, I'm
last
talking
week?
about last
Okay.
week. Didn't you feel that?
Yeah, it's a definitely
It's a-
I think it's also like maybe a city thing.
Oh,
I don't know, like
Horrible.
being in a city where you show up to, I don't know, do you feel that way, Mal? Like when you show up to like exercise classes or something, like everyone's just kind of there for themselves,
Yeah.
and then I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of connection building.
no. No community building. So that was what was happening. And then there's one person in the class, and this is key, who just got really close to McKenna. Like kind of not maliciously, but just didn't really have awareness of where their body was in space in regards to other people's bodies.
It was a completely empty room except for me, Lara, and this third person.
Yeah.
And the third person came, and I like to say I could have stuck my tongue out and licked them. Like that's how close that she was to me.
Yeah.
I hate that.
So that's key. So we start the class.
There's
It's
only
so
3 people
fun.
in the class.
No, later on a bunch more people came, but at this
Okay.
point it was like you're already crossing kind of a boundary here.
Okay.
Yeah. So now there's like 20 people in class. We're starting the routine, and this is not a dance fitness class. This is a dance class where you learn a routine and then drill it over and over again. And the routine is hard. Like it's fast. You're like counting, but you're doing things on the ands. So it's just like it's fast. And
I am really bad. Like I just need to like horrible. Like you could watch a video and you'd be like, "Oh, she's dancing." Like you wouldn't know if I was dancing or not. Laura's really good. I'm really bad.
you're not that bad.
Dancing's hard.
There are
It's so
people
hard.
in the class who are worse than McKenna, so it's fine. But anyways, we're about almost halfway through the class, and I don't even remember what move I was doing, but again, it's just so fast. You're just bouncing around. and I felt in my calf, like it felt like someone was behind me and kicked me in the calf. And so I whip around because my first thought is, "Oh my god, it's this freaking person who is in my space and who just kicked me on accident." And so I whip around and, no one's behind me. But then immediately I get like the worst calf cramp I have ever had. And I have had Charlie horses. I've had scary ones where I'm like in a deep end of a pool where I'm like, "Oh, am I gonna drown?"
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. We used to get those in synchro all the time. And so I get this calf cramp and I'm near the back of the class. So I just like kind of side shuffle to the wall and I prop my foot up against the wall and I start stretching it like that to stretch out my calf. And I'm stretching it. Nothing is helping the pain. Like it is breathtaking, this pain. And nothing is helping. And then I start getting really worried because I'm like, oh, I did hear a pop. Could this be a pulled calf muscle? And me just stretching my calf really hard is actually not helpful for the situation if I've pulled something like legitimately. So then I start freaking out because again, the pain is like constant. And I in my mind, I'm like, just play it cool. Like, it's fine. Like, there's nothing that can actually happen right now. Like, no one can actually do anything for me. I just kind of have to breathe and like calm down a little bit. And so I'm stretching, stretching. McKenna looks at me at one point and I mouth help. And she comes over and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm just like, I have a cramp. It's not going away. It's scaring me. And she's like, "What can I do?" Whatever. And again, there's not much that can be done. So I'm just like chugging water. I'm trying to stretch my foot on the wall. And McKenna goes back to dancing. And then at one point, I can feel like all of the blood like leave from my head. So all of my head and my neck and my shoulders get really cold all of a sudden. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, so I'm about to faint. And so I like get onto my butt, even though it still hurts because I'm in like a legit full on Charlie horse cramp this whole time. And so I'm on my butt and I'm like, okay, well, at least now if I just faint, I'll just look like I'm like laying down.
Quick nap
Um,
time in the middle
yeah,
of class.
exactly. And so I'm stretching, stretching, stretching. There really, I don't really remember much else at that point. Like I just was trying to stretch and people were dancing and the music is booming. Like it is loud in that room and there's counting and there's jumping and I'm having a hard time. Meanwhile, the person who got really close to McKenna starts dancing like right up against me. Like I am at the back wall and they are almost stepping on top of me trying to like dance. And so I'm kind of like at this point waving my arms like I'm like, "Hello, like I'm back here. Please do not step on me. I'm in enough pain as is." And nothing really helps because whatever. So class ends
So how
I,
long were you sitting on the ground for?
like about 35 minutes.
Oh my god.
It was like the last 15 of class because we were just doing the last final thing.
No, I checked my phone because it was like 30 minutes, I think. I only danced for 30 minutes because I had my phone in the back. And then you guys ran it the final time. But it was a long time that I was back there. It felt like a very long time. And I whatever like did there's a video of like my side of the or our side of the uh you know room and I'm just like in the back and everyone's dancing. And so we have the dance luckily if I want to try and learn it again even though the thought of that makes me sick a little bit right now. But anyways, dance class ends, everyone leaves. I'm like, I can't really move. Like I know that our teacher has to close up shop because it's the last class of the night. I'm just like in so much pain. And so at this point, there's like small waves of reprieve where I can kind of walk and then I'll go into like another full cramp and then I can kind of walk and then another full cramp. So we get like out to the lobby area and I'd get into like a really bad cramp, and I'd called an Uber for us to Uber home because we were not going to get on the bus. And so Ken goes out to get to the Uber, but that cramp in that lobby, I was like, we can't leave. Like it hurt so bad. And we finally get into the Uber, um, Uber home. I'm like doing, Lamaze breathing or whatever, like just trying to not cry in an Uber. And yeah, we get home. We just like sat outside for like, I don't know how long it was, but for a while. What'd you say?
Yeah, like over 30 minutes.
We were just outside of our apartment. Ken got me like bananas and electrolytes and water and stuff, and I was just like in hell.
The pain cave.
The pain cave, yeah. Our neighbor like came out and got me a chair, which was nice. And then oh, at one point, like we were in the lobby of our apartment, so not up the stairs yet because the stairs were scary, scary times. Scary times. But Ken had gone up to do something, and so I was just in the lobby and I started to move, but I was doing so like with really intense breathing, and I had my head down and I was just like breathing like so hard to try and go through the pain. And I thought it was Makena coming down the stairs, but it was actually our neighbor. And she's like, "Oh my God, what is wrong?" Like, I'm clearly having the time of my life. And I just felt bad because I thought it was Makena. I would not have been like as dramatically breathing. So yeah, said hi to her. We got up to the apartment. McKenna gave me mustard because apparently that helps with
If you're in a cramp.
if you're in a cramp. I called also, so McKenna's parents mom was more helpful. I called my parents and they were like, huh, if we were in this problem, we would just call you. So I don't really know. I was like, that's really helpful. Thank you guys.
You should have called Jean.
I know. Well, I thought about that just now when talking to her. I was like, I should have just called her. But yeah. What happened next? Oh, I think just like a lot of breathing and trying to heat up the area. But we were just really confused as to whether heat would be good if I had pulled the muscle or like if I needed to start icing it,
No.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and then finally it was okay enough that I could get in the bath. McKenna had to undress me to get in the bath.
I was like full-blown nurse.
Full-blown nurse McKenna.
Kind of hot.
Me as a nurse, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's everyone's fantasies.
No, but Lara couldn't walk, couldn't move, like nothing. We were completely
Down for the count.
yeah.
It was awesome.
Mhm.
I have 2 callbacks. Are you done with your story?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I have other things, but go ahead.
Okay, my first callback is McKenna, do you have any advice for Ryan when someone mouths help at you? I'm curious what went through your head that helped you respond appropriately.
What's
to that
actually hilarious
situation.
is I have been thinking about your situation with being with mouthing help and Lara's situation with mouthing help quite a bit. It has been on a loop. Yeah, my advice would be to everyone listening, when someone mouths help, you drop everything and you you
Support.
scurry on over.
You activate.
Yeah, you power up.
Yeah.
My second callback is, last week we were talking how Lara, you saw McKenna in some of the worst pain she's ever been in with Fizzy. And now I feel like McKenna, you're seeing Lara in some of the worst pain that she's ever been in with
Yeah.
Caffey.
Crampy.
Yeah, crampy. And so I'm curious, one, how was it to like really support each other? But two, like, do you feel like it has bonded you in a different way?
trying times here in San Francisco. No, I'm just kidding. I feel neutral about it. I felt the only overwhelming emotion that I felt was gratefulness that I wasn't in my height of
Mhm.
pain while Lara was in her height of pain.
Yes, I
Because
too am
that would have
grateful
been
for that.
unbearable. Unbearable.
Yeah, we had good timing. Our timing for crippling pain was pretty stellar.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really know what else would make McKenna and I closer. Like,
I had to hold Lara's hands as I lowered her naked into the bath.
Guys, this makes me so sad. I really wish I was there. It feels like I just can't share in that moment.
You would have done a really good job, Mel.
I would have
No.
loved it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you
would have
would've-
loved
yeah.
that you were hurt, but I would have had such a good time.
and McKenna or and Mallory, when you're back here and we're well, fingers crossed that we're well, we're gonna role play that for you.
Yeah,
And
I
you
just feel
can
like I'm uniquely equipped for
you
that
can lower me into the
situation.
bath,
You are.
vag
Can I?
You are.
open wide.
Yeah, and I
you.
will say, Mal, like you, like were the first person that I maybe like fully showed my naked body to. That wasn't like a sexual
cry.
partner. So
Yeah.
Thank you for saying
you can
that.
keep that in your belt forever.
It is in very much in my belt. It is the trophy
Notch
in my belt.
Yeah,
in
it was.
belt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like I don't know.
Laura just wrote help.
Is this another drop everything?
No, sorry. I should have warned you that I was gonna write help. I meant
This is another chance to like see if we can be good at this.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, Lara, are you
That's a
okay? What do you
test.
need?
No, I'm so sorry. This is for the pod clip.
Yeah, she wants
Clip.
to call back to that moment.
Clip.
Oh.
And
we
we
were-
were, 'cause we were funny in it, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So everyone, I'm okay right now.
Yeah, wait, Lara, so how are you though with your calf? Like how is it now?
So that was Friday and today is Tuesday night. Haven't really pooped because I have not been moving at all. Like I didn't like leave the apartment for a few days. I wasn't able to walk. So I've just been not moving much and so therefore been pretty constipated. But other than that, the calf is feeling better and better every day. I saw a doctor and she gave me muscle relaxers, which have been really helpful because it's really just like the muscle was in such an intense cramp for so long that now I think it's just really sore and really stiff. My whole calf just feels really, really stiff. And so I'm trying to like gradually loosen it up, but also there are things that I do if I'm not careful enough. Like the other night, I kind of like went onto my toes a little bit on my right calf. And just like this pain just shot through the calf where it was like, don't do that. Like we will cramp again. And that is the last thing I want to feel right now is another calf cramp. So I'm trying to be really careful with it. Unfortunately, I do think I need to go back to work tomorrow because I've been calling out from work. And I've had a doctor's note, so that's been, nice, but I have to go back to work tomorrow and I think I'm just going to kind of say like I need to take it really easy if possible. Which probably will mean doing a lot of time on register, which is not easy on the rest of my body, but it's not a lot of walking around, which is what I need right now.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
It's okay. It's really
No,
kind of
not great.
it's not great, but it kind of weirdly has been like fine. Like it
Okay.
hurts and it's shitty, but I would almost rather have this kind of an injury that's preventing me from doing stuff than have like the stomach flu where like I just feel like shitty the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I'm laying down and I feel fine. Like I'm not constantly uncomfortable, which is good. But yeah, it was scary for the first night I was really, really, really scared.
Well, when you described it, I immediately was like, did you just pop your Achilles? Like that
Oh.
is sounds like a lot like what an Achilles rupture would be like.
And I, oh, there's yeah, I am very thankful that that is not what that was.
Yeah.
But I was able to like move my ankle around a little bit that night and move my knee around. And that's what made the doctor be like, it's just really, like, you just really strained a muscle. And so every other muscle contracted to try and protect it. Which, like, thank you to my body for doing that because
Yeah.
even though it was really, really painful to be in cramp, constant cramp, like maybe that's what saved me from actually pulling something.
Yeah.
So, really thankful for my body for doing that. I think that, like, mentally, it was a bit hard because I don't know. We talk a lot about on the podcast about how rest is really hard for active people, and about the second day where I couldn't really move or walk at all, I was kind of getting like bad mental math going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, Laura, you haven't moved around at all today. You should probably do this and that to, like, you know, it's not it's not good, and we should maybe I just if you're having a hard time with food stuff, maybe don't listen to the next thing I'm going to say. But I think that I was kind of like, hmm, maybe like have a smaller lunch because you have
Yeah.
not moved today, which like never should be a thing. But I think it's also hard when, I don't know, it's just like it was hard for like a few days. But now, like today we did Kara's Pilates class that she made after doing an operation, and it felt so good to do like movement like that again because putting doing movement like that where like I'm breathing into my body and my muscles are working and my blood is circulating, even though it's gentle movement, it's like I seriously think like that is maybe one of the reasons why I haven't pooped is like I haven't had that activation throughout my body. And so my body just kind of thinks like, oh,
Yeah.
you're just, not doing much. We don't really have to activate your systems.
There's also a good
Yeah.
chance that your medicine could be impacting that.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Very
That's
true.
so true. That's so true. So, yeah, I think that's all that I have for calf crampy. Anything else to add on that?
No.
No,
Okay. Cool.
I'm glad that you're getting better. I think that that's a positive thing. I think like from my perspective, like I think that this is normal, but I think that you have like kind of retreated during this process, which is again normal, but I think it's helpful to hear like your processing of things cuz I think you've just been kind of doing that internally.
Retreating?
Yeah. Or just like handling like the process of things
Oh, yeah.
internally.
Guys, I'm so sweaty at all times. I'm sorry. I'm so stinky right now.
It's okay.
Just hold your breath. I'm very self-conscious about it.
Ken, how's Fishy?
So good. I like literally don't feel it. It's still there. Like I can touch it and feel it, but it's not hurting at all. So
What do you
that's
think changed?
I think I just like did a really good job of like continuing movement, helping like taking so many baths, my creams, making
Yeah.
sure that my bowel movements were like the same or similar each day, that sort of thing.
I'm so excited for you. That's great.
I go to the doctor tomorrow, so I'm excited
Yay.
for further intel there.
What are you hoping to get from the doctor? Like, are there any goals that you have to
I
leave
just
with?
I just want him to see it, and I want to say this is the situation when I'm 90% better, and for him to understand the scope of my pain so that there's a plan
Mm-hmm.
in place when it most likely returns at some point, and also a plan for the colon rectal people. And then I have a few theories that I want to run by him. So that's my plan for tomorrow.
Cool. Okay,
Nice.
Lara, I know you have more.
I have some more. How are we doing on timing? Like, when did we start this episode? I'm worried that I'm talking way too much.
I think we started at like 4:20.
Hey.
Does that
I
sound
think-
right, Mel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to be eating dinner by 8:15 my time.
Perfect. We can do that.
Okay.
We can do that. Okay. So now Laura's gonna talk about a moment on the pod last week.
Call back.
A big callback. And there was a moment last week where we were chatting about our couples trip that we're taking to New England in 2025.
Not
And
2024, to be clear. Though that would
Not.
make sense given that it's 2024. But yeah, no, go ahead.
not 2024, 2025. We're fighting already again.
Conflict.
Yeah. And so when we were talking about that, Mal said something about my dating life as like a very like passing comment. And if you watch our episodes, or probably even if you listened, because I asked her to not edit any of this part, I got pretty uncomfortable when she said that, because I don't know, I had a reaction, and you kind of said after we stopped recording and we talked about it, you were like, I don't think anyone would have flagged my comment, like the comment you made about my dating life, if I hadn't reacted in the way that I did,
I
which
think
was
Ken said that, but yeah.
completely true. Like, completely true. And so I want to talk about it because I think it's interesting. And I think, before this podcast, the three of us were talking about fuck wellness and what the podcast is to us, and, what purpose it serves. Like, a big purpose of this podcast for me in my life is to process stuff. And this was such a huge moment of me processing something that I would not have processed if we hadn't had that interaction in the podcast. So I'm very thankful to
You're
have
so welcome.
yeah, thank you to Mallory. But thank you to both of you, because like I think the whole thing is fascinating if you zoom out fully, because my first reaction to what you said was, make it a joke. Make it a bit. Like, yes, you got uncomfortable, but now it's just a bit throughout the episode. Then step 2, I was like, oh, well, after we stop recording, I'm going to say something to Mal and be like, keep your lips sealed. Like, loose lips sink ships, Mallory. Literally going to say that, which I think is like, that is my first reaction, but shouldn't be. And I should look inwards to things that give me reactions, but I don't often. And that's why I'm grateful to have you two as my besties. So here's what happened. I guess a quick like rundown of Lara's life is important right now.
Whoa. Okay.
Really quick. I'm just going to be quick with it. So when I lived in Boulder, more or less for the time period that I lived in Boulder, I was in a relationship. And I was very, very open on the podcast, like forthcoming when I was talking about that relationship in the early days. Like, first few dates, I feel like I was talking about them on the podcast. And whatever, fast forward to the beginning of 2023, that relationship had ended. So I guess another detail is that Lara, at this very moment, I'm in like early, 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 early days of like seeing someone. And Mal obviously knows this.
Not Mal trying to hide her smirk.
I just feel like this is very full circle.
I know. And guys, please interrupt me at any point. Any point.
We will.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to know. Mal knows this, McKenna knows this, a few other people know this in my life. But I want to talk about everything that I've realized, but I don't want to get off track because it's all so important.
I feel like we're witnessing something, Mal. Like
I'm loving this right now.
we're here for something groundbreaking. I had no idea this was coming.
Wait, me talking about this?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is all stuff that you literally told to me after the podcast. So
Yeah, McKenna really did God's work last week.
no,
I just
she
want to say.
absolutely did. She did.
The gentleness with which she pushed after we stopped recording was just
No, Mel, I'm
so
not
loving.
there yet.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay.
I'm not there yet to gentle pushing. Okay, so whatever. I got uncomfortable with Mal saying anything on the podcast implying that I was dating one person because one, and again, McKenna helped me realize this, I have a really hard time sharing things in my life before they're in a nice, perfectly wrapped up little package that I can then like say to people as kind of like, this is something that I went through in the past, and here you go. I'm presenting it to you. Enjoy. That's really hard for me. And like, for example, right now, something that I have not perfectly wrapped up is that I am in a job pivot. And I have probably, yeah, I don't really want to talk about this because I'm like, it's not ready yet. But I'm trying to exercise that part in me that is doing uncomfortable things. And I'm just going to say that that's something that I'm in the middle of.
This is also so tied into tattooing now that I think about it. Like, I feel like you always put so much pressure on yourself with tattooing to have the perfect product before you even take like the littlest step forward. I feel like
Yeah.
that it's such like a perfectionist
Oh my God.
achiever mindset.
Yeah. And I still have that with tattooing, like 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I was not saying that it's solved.
It's raging loud right now, actually. But yes, exactly. But I think that it's interesting because that has always been my kind of go-to happy medium. Don't talk about things until they're fully formed, except for that when I think back to this last relationship that I was just talking about, I was like open about those feelings and the excitement and the, I don't know, just like the giddiness that I was feeling in those early days, far before it was ever like an established relationship. I was talking about that stuff. And I was also like very public on socials about it all and like, and on the podcast and to many people beyond just like my close friends. And so I don't know. I think that that is interesting to think about.
Could I offer a theory about why I maybe think that is?
Yeah, go for it.
I think, well, there's two things. I think number one, it was the first time I think that you've allowed yourself to like go after something that you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your first queer relationship. So I think that impacts things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was also a transitionary time for you moving to Colorado. And I think this relationship was ease the transition, I think, significantly.
Yeah.
And became kind of your Colorado community.
Yeah. Oh,
which
yeah.
I think was like a big component of that.
Yeah.
Because like I think moving like with you and I moving here, we both were like plopped in and figuring it out on our own. But I think in Colorado, there was like a difference where it's like you kind of went into that lane. And
Mhm.
that was, yeah, you had like that side of your life and then our like home side of your life. But you spent most of your time, I think, in that relationship, like in Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Mal, do you have anything?
No, I just remember before you went on your first date in your last relationship, you talked about it on the podcast.
Holy shit, before we even went out?
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, that's what I mean. Like,
That's why when you kind of got snappy last week, I was like, Laura, this is very different expectations, you know?
Also, I think Lara's like perception of Mal just outed that you were dating maybe one person. You couldn't even like it wasn't even.
Like people had to understand that we had said that we were going to bring plus ones to the trip. You know, it's like
guys,
people had to get the meta thing.
I know it's not logical. That
No,
is
I
the
know,
whole
I know.
point. It is not logical. Um, so yeah. Next, I guess, well, I don't really know
Do you want
what
to talk
else.
about the superstition?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Is that I'm a very superstitious person. And I, you know, I don't know. Again, none of this makes sense. A lot of things in my brain, when you zoom out and you're like, let's think about that, it doesn't actually make any sense. But I think that the association that my brain was making was like, Lara, you were in this relationship, you know, this person came on the pod multiple times. This person was all over your social media. This person was, you know, very, very publicly someone that was like essential to your life. And then all of a sudden they were not. And almost to the point where, like, in the months after my breakup, people were DMing me on social media saying, "Did you break up with so and so?" Where I was like, okay, so it's that obvious from my social media presence that I have broken up with this person. Like, oh. Also, don't ever do that. It's like, never send a DM like that ever. If you're not close enough to talk to me or text me like to my face, don't DM me about that. But I don't know. I think that like the correlation of like you were public with this one person and now I'm in the early days of dating someone else and I really want it to go well and I have no idea how it's going to go, but I know that there's this part of my brain that's like, "Oh, I was super open with this one person in early days and throughout the relationship and then I got burned," to use McKenna's beautiful language that she had last week, which is true. Like I was whatever in that relationship. It did not end on the terms I would have wanted it to. And now to to do everything in my power to avoid that happening again, I'm having like weird reactions to Mal saying literally nothing on the podcast. And also very big reactions when I'm called gently into a conversation about it after recording. Like I was very like still heels in the ground after
Oh,
we
yeah.
stopped recording. I was so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable. And it took me like a few hours and like more talking with McKenna and a lot of processing to just be like, oh, obviously, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all I have. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I think I'm hearing you say the phrase like this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I do
Get
in
into that.
fact think it makes sense. I'd also love to offer a reframe of like this belief where it's like you're embodying, well, I'm just a superstitious person. And so this is kind of the belief that I bring to all things. Like something good is going to be taken away from me because because I vocalize it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think like we can go slow with how you interact with that, but I don't think that's something that you have to carry or identify yourself as.
So
And I
true.
think there's an option to separate who you are as a person from that belief or that what sounds to me like a really big protector coming up and showing up of like, you know, I don't know, it's like it's not the same, but it's like, oh, if I step on this crack, I'm gonna break my mom's back. Like it's the same kind of like, I don't know, thing there. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's not superstition, it's fear, which makes complete sense. And I think to your brain, it makes complete sense. And I don't know, I think kind of working with it is like we talked about my new trailhead last week, and I think this is probably one of your new trailheads.
Yeah.
And you also, I will just kind of name that throughout the time that you were kind of injured, you had quite a few situations that brought up similar ish feelings where it's like you dealt with like some disappointment or you worked through like asking for something you needed. Like there were these moments that were seemed kind of minor in your last few days, but I think were really representative of like you were already uncomfortable from last and then it kind of just increased that uncomfortableness. You were really having to work that muscle.
Yeah. Really, really hard.
I just want to give you so much credit though for
Yeah.
processing. Like, I have definitely been in your shoes of feeling defensive. Like, I think of the Thailand trip, obviously, that one just sticks out to me when McKenna was, pushing back on me gently about diet culture and stuff. And I felt so defensive. And I mean, I felt that many times since as well, but I feel like you went from defensive to processing. Even if it felt long for you, that was real fucking fast to go from defensive to like, wait, there's more here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think one, that was a really good sign of like all of the work that I feel like you've done in the last couple years. And
Mhm.
also the fact that you're willing to like talk about this on the podcast is huge because this isn't a neat bow and I like that. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I
props.
also just want to give you props for like being friends with me and Mallory, who literally like jump into the deep end, eyes closed, and like drag you in with us. I think that's probably quite difficult sometimes.
No, I
Yeah.
like it. I need it.
Yeah, I really loved your voice memo after the pod. Lara sent me like a 4-minute long voice memo of all of these thoughts and I loved it.
Like, I'm not mad at you, Mallory. I just realized the most intense things. And I'm
I mean,
not mad at you.
at the end of the day, like I really feel like your reaction last week was because you're excited about something
Yeah.
and you didn't want, you were worried that, like, kind of back to the superstition protector, like that flew on because you were like worried I was bringing up something that would then ruin the thing you were excited about.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%. There's also, and Ken and I were talking about this briefly, but the phenomenon of phenomenon phenomenon of a hard launch, like launching someone who's in your life in that way is so fascinating because obviously like people do it all the time on social media when someone's like, "Oh my god, they're dating this person," or whatever. Like Mallory is dating this person. Oh my god, everyone look. But that like that is something that is very very curated and whatever like we make fun of it we talk about it in group chats whatever, but it's I kind of get it. Like this
Yeah.
is someone who is important and you're presenting them to a world to have everyone have an opinion about it. And I think that that process is sometimes you know, a very like vulnerable, and you want it to be controlled. Like under your own terms, do you want to bring this person out into the open? And I don't know. I think that the what we do on the podcast, what we say, what we post on social media, it's kind of just inevitable that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's always, I think, gonna be an element of like, I wonder who's gonna see this, or I wonder who's gonna listen
Yeah,
to this,
totally.
and who's gonna tell who, and how's it gonna be passed around? What's gonna be done with this information? And I think that something I was struggling with was like this information I'm not ready to have out into the world because I haven't made it in a way that all parties are protected. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Mhm. Well, and I think that's also like Mal was saying, that's to me, that means that this is like there's something that's worth protecting, right? Like that it's important enough to you in whatever, like job stuff or this or whatever it might be, that it's like how you communicate that is important.
Mhm.
But I think like, yeah, those two things can exist at once. Like, how can I work through this fear that's coming up while also protecting this thing that I feel protective over?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had similar thoughts to you where I'm like, nope, the next person that graces my social media is someone that I will literally get married to. But it's like at the end of the day, like, I mean, I don't, I was just going to say, like, marriage is just marriage, right? Like, there's always something that can, like, happen. And I think that I've noticed that when I reflect back on it, it's more so on, like, how did people perceive me in this? And what did they think about me? And what opinions did they have? Rather, oh, I really regret sharing this part of my life or where I was at then.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we've joked about it too on the podcast that like like Ryan can come on the pod anytime, obviously. But for McKenna and I, no one's, guesting with us.
You learned your lesson.
No, we both learned our lesson. Unless there's a ring on these fingers.
Yeah.
How McKenna, you've just had one ex on the pod?
Mhm. But see, the thing is, like, even when I talked about last week about some of the things that I said about the past people that I've dated, I immediately was like, I think I should go in and take down that episode. But then I was like,
Mm.
but why? Like, I think that there's something to be learned in like my I don't know. It's not like naive. Not it's not me being naive then, but I think it's me being in a state of mind that I wasn't comfortable. Like, I think that there's value in reflecting on that. And I think my biggest fear was like, oh, people are going to listen to the pod and no longer trust me because they can listen to this episode and hear me saying things that one, I don't really think that I stood behind. And two, whatever. There's like so many elements, but I think I'm more proud of the fact that I continue to grow through these things
Mhm.
Yeah.
than to have, yeah, than the fear
We're
of,
not static. Yeah.
right, right. And everyone has had moments like that. Everyone.
Yeah.
Oh
Which
yeah.
I think, yeah, going back to I think why we do our like small but mighty podcast is like I think the couple times we do get like that validation, which is pretty like rare. I think that when people have public facing projects or hobbies, it's like I don't know, similar to how like people with big followings sometimes don't get asked on podcasts because people think that they already get asked too much. Like it's that same thing. But every once in a while when we get someone who's like, this really impacted me and I really loved this, like thank you. I think it means more because oh my gosh.
Douglas.
But just because it Douglas, no. Um just because it's so intimate. Like we're so also vulnerable with our lives. So
Maybe we
yeah.
should try to have all of our exes on the podcast and it can be like a series.
I'm gonna respectfully say no. No.
Okay. Good. Thank you for
I
that.
literally could not imagine anything more uncomfortable. So
Okay. Okay, I want to go eat dinner.
yeah, Mal needs to eat some dinner. Lara, do you have anything you want to close with?
Um
No, I hope everyone has a great week. I got nothing. Go have dinner, Mel.
Okay, love you guys.
Love
Love
you.
you.